Evening. I'd like to welcome you and call to order the January 10th Port Orchard City Council regular meeting. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, it's been a while. We haven't seen each other in a month. Did you miss us? Huh? It's been a year. Yes, it has.
It was a different year.
So we have some new faces. If you haven't met Charlotte Archer over here, our new city attorney, is with us for our first meeting tonight. So welcome. And any words of wisdom for us before we kick this meeting off? Or no?
Excited to be doing it.
Nick's going to show you how to use the microphone too. So our first order of business is the approval of this evening's agenda. Are there any modifications to the agenda this evening?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the agenda.
Second. Motion is second to approve the agenda as it was presented. Any discussion of this evening's agenda? Hearing none. All in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the agenda is set. So we are to our first citizen comment period. And we have Councilmember Leslie Dowgs here, but she's not here for citizen comments, I don't believe. So we'll close this first citizen comment period, and we're to our consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Mayor, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Further discussion of any of the items on the agenda, consent agenda? All in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the consent agenda is approved. We are moving right along. We have a presentation tonight from Bremerton City Council member Leslie Dowgs, who has taken on some additional duties with the U.S. Census. So welcome, Councilmember Dowgs.
Good evening,
You want to
Mayor.
introduce your guest you brought with you?
My guest is my spouse, Daryl Dowgs.
Welcome, Daryl.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is Leslie Dowgs. I am the Kitsap County Complete Count Census Coordinator. And the reason why I'm here today is there's a lot of changes with the census that's coming up, and a lot of people aren't going to be thinking about it because of these upcoming elections. Some of the changes that's coming up is that it's all online. And that is going to affect our communities drastically. If you think of nursing homes, not very many of our elderly population have computers. Our homeless populations do not have computers. A lot of our lower income families may challenge having computers in their homes as well. The reason why this is so important also as well is they're going to be notifying families with postcards. And they're going to open the online portal March 16th to April 1st. But the postcards they mail are going to be to your home residence. If you have a post office box and you live in the outside rural areas, they will not be getting a postcard in the mail. So you are also representing a big population of community. I'm thinking of Olalla and any individuals out in that area. So why is this so important? 16.7 billion was received in 2016 for Washington State. That's $2,319 per person. Port Orchard's population of 13,997 at $2,319 equals to $32,459,043 for just Port Orchard alone. So if you do not get an accurate count of our population, it's going to be dollars and revenues lost for your community. Let's say 1,000 people did not get counted in Port Orchard. That's $2,319 of lost revenue for your city. So the reason why I'm here to educate. I'm here to reach out to your city. I am also here to let you know that I would love to come speak to your Rotaries. I would love to come to speak to your Kiwanis school groups by passing my information along, and hopefully I can get this education material out to them. The one thing I wanted to mention, that these dollars that affect your community are medical assistance, SNAP, which is your food stamps, Medicare Part B, highway planning and construction, and with your recent Tremont, that's probably some federal dollars that was received from there. Section 8 housing, Title I grants, special education grants, school lunch programs, Head Start, Early Start, WIC programs, Children's Health Insurance Estate Program, Health Center for the Homeless, Public Housing, the Community Migrant, Section 8 housing again, Child Care Development, Foster Care, Low-Income Home Energy Assistance. So if you think of all these programs that these dollars are reaching out to, this is going to affect your low-income population, your elderly population, your immigrant population who are too scared to come out and speak and do the census. The other one is going to be our people of color, because it's, if by chance, and this is a good example, our tribes right now, they do not have post offices. Most of them have post office boxes. So just think if we're not educating that community right now and the dollars lost for them as well. So again, my name is Leslie Augs, and I am here to educate regarding the census, and I just wanted to put this up for a brief few seconds. Oops, there we go, thank you. And so your community can see that. My name is Leslie Augs. You can reach me by email at 2020census@kitsapfoundation.org, and my cell number is on there as well. And for any information, we have a website, kitsap2020census.com, and this website is good for individuals who want to educate. It's got tools that you can click to, flyers you can print. Again, this is information that is so important, and I would love to speak to anyone if you wish. And then the last thing I wanted to mention is it's 10 minutes. The census takes 10 minutes, 10 questions, and it takes 10 years. One last thought I want to leave you with. If a mother is pregnant and does not have her child till April 15th, that child is not counted for the next 10 years. So if that mother is on WIC, Head Start, or early learning, or in school, those dollars and that head count is missing for that 10-year period. So again, my name is Leslie Augs. Thank you for letting me be here and speak to you. I would leave with your city clerk. It's a Washington State Agencies toolkit. It's a good reading thing, and it has some sites online that you can also look at.
So Leslie, I just want to make sure I heard you right. It's opening March 16th,
To
and then
April
it closes April 1st. That's only
1st.
15 days
Yes.
to do the census.
Yes. We have people in the community that's going to be, for a homeless population, they're going to be bringing in laptops to like Salvation Army or some of our churches. So the portal's only open March 15th to April 1st or 16th, and it's a short period. Eventually, after they do the final online count, if they don't have a full count, they'll do doorbelling. But that's the last priority, and it's not going to even happen till the end of April.
I know this isn't your decision, but that really seems like a really short window. I mean, is it?
It is, and so we have to reach out to everyone. And my goal is to try to get, organizations to open up their community centers and have a census pizza party, and people can come there and answer their questions and do their census on computers at the library or various organizations.
So it's strictly computerized.
Yes. All online. You'll get a postcard in the mail in English saying that don't forget to do the census. And if you have most of our families have the grandmother, the mother, and the child living at home. Grandmother and mother doesn't speak English, they'll throw the postcard away, and then no one in that home is going to get counted. So again, the postcard's in English. It's going to be mailed to home residents, not post office box, and it is online. So it is definitely a new change for the census. And
So if somebody's not able to fill it out electronically, they will then be doorbelled at some point?
not till the end of April,
Okay.
at the end of April.
How
And
will they know?
well, I'm assuming they'll go by a Google map, and say, okay, there's 10 houses on Street A, and maybe they've got 3 houses on Street A registered that did online census, and then they'll doorbell the remaining.
So it's a database. So when
Yeah.
Scott does it, he's going to come off the list, but if Fred doesn't,
Voting matchbacks.
Yep.
Similar.
Yeah,
They're not going by voter records.
No, it's just based on maps that says there's 10 houses on this street, and we only got 3 accounted for.
Okay, and this is, totally personal, but my brother doesn't have a computer, and he will not have a computer, so I guess we'll have to
So you will
take a
bring
laptop
you will
out.
bring,
I'd have to go help him.
bring your laptop to his home and assist him in doing the census. And how many
Better
people
yet,
does
bring
your,
him to your home and have him fill it out.
Yeah,
and how many people lives in your brother's home?
I think two.
So that would be 2 people that wouldn't be counted if we didn't get them. Any other questions?
So the postcard's not being mailed to PO boxes?
Yes. And
Only
it's in
street
English.
addresses?
Yes. And it's in English, so that's the other flaw is that we do have materials that in other languages, but the postcards are coming in English.
If there are people who live on their boat and they use a PO box, they're not getting a postcard.
Nope. That's our yacht clubs. We have a few people that live on their boats.
There's a few.
Yeah, so you're missing that population as well.
Wow.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Questions for Leslie? Thank you for taking the time. to
You
come
bet.
here.
Thank you so much. And again, I left your stuff with the city clerk and the contact information. Please share that with your community. Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And you're welcome to stay. We've got a discussion item later about the annexation of Bremerton. But you don't need to stay if you don't want to. All right, we're to our business items. The first of which is, since it's our first meeting in January, is the business item A, which is the appointment of a mayor pro tem,
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Ashby.
I would like to nominate Councilmember Rosa Pepe as the mayor pro tem for 2020.
Second it.
Second by Councilmember Diener. Further discussion?
Yes, I would just like to ask when you know you might be gone this year. Because there were dates that weren't covered last year, and we actually needed another covering.
Pro tem.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the year before.
It was the year
Or
before.
whenever.
Yeah.
But,
Mr. Clausen isn't a good mayor pro tem because I'm on his
fine.
board, and sometimes we travel together. So a lot of times that's the
right,
con-
well, and I know
And then
at the end of June.
Councilmember Ashby and I go to AWC together, so, yeah. And I try to make you guys aware of that when myself and the pro tem, I'm pretty good about, I don't get sick too often, and I try to communicate my vacation plans.
Yeah.
So.
In the past, you've given us a little list of dates I'd be missing. And I do know, and I'm just saying, that there will be a surgery coming up. Would that take very much time?
No, that'll be on a Wednesday, and I should make the next council meeting the
Okay.
following
You
Tuesday.
scheduled it around council? That's so nice.
I was offered certain dates, and I took the first one.
Right, you took a Wednesday, yeah. I don't have any vacation plans till this summer, but I do have a couple of conferences. And
Okay,
one of them
yeah.
is AWC, and it will be, yeah. Matter of fact, I think our next council meeting I will miss, because I'm on the AWC board and I go down a day earlier than everybody else, but I'm not 100% positive.
The only date I have right now is January 28th. I will not be here because of some
That's the
plans
same-
before
That's the
surgery.
same date.
Yeah,
So we'll have a premier pro tem.
Those things happen.
It just,
Okay.
so
Yeah,
that
just-
meeting night, you guys will have to nominate somebody to run that meeting.
I
So
just,
when we-
I just wanted to be up forward in case they wanted to nominate somebody
Well,
else.
Knowing that two are going to be gone, I'm out of town that week. So you might want to start counting for a quorum.
Boy, oh boy.
2, 3, 4, 5, you got, yeah.
We
So
do.
hopefully nobody gets sick and the 28th of January, I believe
January.
is that date.
Schedule your sick days.
So, all right. So-
And clarifying that we are doing this on a yearly basis still, correct?
Yeah, that's why the clerk puts it on the
Well,
agenda.
because, right, we have.
It's our,
done that.
it's our, yeah, we always do this one annually. It's the committees that we do every other year after the election.
I know it says that there, but we have I'm
Had
just,
the option to do it on.
right, which is the
Oh,
only
right,
reason I'm
because we're a
saying
code.
that.
You're right. Because we're a code city now, we could do it differently. You're right.
Right.
But our historic practice has been an annual. So,
Iterating, yes.
so was that motion for a one-year appointment? Just to
It
clarify.
was, I believe that's what I said. I said for 2020.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to clarify.
Yep.
Good point. Other discussions of Mr. Rosa Pepe's appointment? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of approving Mayor Pro Tem Rosa Pepe for 2020, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Congratulations, Mr. Rosa Pepe.
Hear that train whistle?
Don't you usually miss a meeting when this happens? You're gone from-
All right, we're on to item B, which is adoption of a resolution approving a contract with GGLO LLC for the Downtown County Campus Subarea Plan and Planned Action EIS. Mr. Bond.
Thank you. The city's comprehensive plan identifies the preparation of a downtown sub-area plan as a priority towards implementing the center's approach to growth as described therein and in PSRC's Vision 2040. Completing this project was also listed as a council priority at the 2019 City Council retreat. In September 2019, the city was informed of a grant opportunity to seek funds to complete a sub-area plan and planned action EIS and was successful in applying for funding. The city was awarded the maximum award under the grant program, $50,000. This project seeks to develop a more focused plan for downtown Port Orchard with a robust public outreach process. As the city continues to grow and pressure for downtown redevelopment increases, this plan will ensure that the city has adequate infrastructure to support that growth. The new plan will also ensure that the city has regulations in place to deliver what will be the community's desired outcome and to make sure that that outcome is achievable and economically viable. Finally, by completing a planned action EIS in conjunction with the sub-area plan, the project will streamline future development process by doing environmental review on the plan rather than on a project-by-project level, thus streamlining development review. On November 13, 2019, the city published an RFP for professional services for a downtown and county government campus sub-area plan and planned action EIS. By the November 27, 2019 deadline, 6 proposals from qualified firms were received. On December 20th, 2019, after scoring and ranking the proposals and after interviewing the 4 most highly qualified firms, the city selected GGLO LLC for the project. City staff then contacted GGLO to discuss, clarify, and develop the final scope, budget, and project timeline, which was received on January 9th, 2020. The final cost estimate for the project is $206,845. Staff recommends approval of the contract as presented, and I believe that a memo from the finance director was provided explaining how this project can be paid for. Happy to take any questions.
Councilmember Diener.
Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt a resolution approving a contract with GGLO LLC for downtown and county government campus sub-area plan and planned action EIS for an amount not to exceed $206,845 and documenting the professional services procurement procedures.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Ashby. And as Mr. Bond referenced, there is a memo. Mr. Crocker wanted to be excused this evening because of the icy roads. So he said he didn't have anything on the agenda, and I said, yes, you do. You have to tell us how we're going to pay for this. And so he wrote that memo. And you know, it's fairly, you know, our revenue, sales tax, and permit activity this past year far exceeded our expectations. And so we have sufficient funds in our general fund to pay for these services. And I know I myself, Councilmember Ashby and Councilmember Rosapepe, as well as Mr. Dorsey and Mr. Bond served on that committee that selected this firm. I know, at least it was my feeling, and I think everybody shared that feeling, that this firm was heads and tails above the others, and I don't know if either one of you want to speak to that process or our selection at all.
Okay.
I know we're having trouble with looking at the total cost of this project, but their presentation and what we've seen from GGLO was, as the mayor said, was far and above anything else that was presented. And we will need something that we're not going to put on the shelf and wait. We need something that people can use right away. And the consensus was that basically it was go with GGLO or none of the other firms. It was that big of a gap between the presentations and the information that was received. We know it's a lot of funds, but we're at that point in time with our city where we need to move forward, and we need to move the bar forward on this with the city. And we believe and know that this project, this plan will do that for us.
Any questions or statements? Councilmember
No.
Ashby?
I would just also let council know that when the proposed amount came in at, elevated from what we had anticipated, the group had a second meeting and again reviewed everything. And as you would expect, I had a list of expectations because I didn't want a project or another report that may sit on a shelf. It needed to be one that could be executed. And, you know, we discussed it, and I believe all of my expectations will be met. I will be extremely disappointed if they're not. But there was a lot of confidence in the work that this group could do for us.
Councilmember Chang?
I had a couple of questions. Was there a presentation that you saw or from them? And that's not included in our packet, is it?
No.
No, there were packets submitted by each firm.
Is there a way that the rest of us could see it?
Mr. Bond could probably get you
Yeah,
copies.
I can give you a copy of the
Okay.
proposal. They did bring a separate PowerPoint presentation that was not given to us, but they used it for their presentation.
Okay, I'm
and I don't
curious
have
what
that.
they presented. I'm also in favor of the plan in general, and I know you guys have vetted it thoroughly. I did have one question, which is, I know it includes the county campus, and given what we've seen from what the county has done with their courthouse plan, I'm wondering, what is the net effect of this plan that we get? Because by the time we get it, will the county already have developed their own lands? Will it have any effect on what we want the county to do?
This is not looking specifically at how the county is laying out their project, but it's looking at the adjacent lands and trying to identify how best to interface with what the county is designing and to make sure that they're compatible.
So it may have no effect on what the county is doing?
Correct.
Because I've been told that what they want to do is allowed, so I'm thinking if what they want to do is allowed, and we come up with a better idea, it doesn't sound like they have to go with the better idea that we may be presented with.
I don't think that our plan will be adopted before they are in motion in terms of permitting their first phase, which I believe is relocating some parking so that they can build the first phase of their project.
Okay, yeah, so it,
So, as Mr. Bond was saying, though, it's more about the interface between that project and the projects downtown and the one end of town to the east end of downtown, and analyzing our sewer and water and stormwater infrastructure, you know, traffic needs, parking needs. It's a whole list. It's not just a design exercise, and you know, I believe that this master plan project we're seeing from the developer too is they're going to have their own master planning exercise too for their campus, and it's going to be important that it's a separate exercise too. We're not paying for their master planning, but we're making sure that all of these projects work cohesively together, and that we have all of the infrastructure to support it, and where those gaps lie, so that we can address them. Councilmember Diener?
Nick, I had a question about the study area map. It shows some potential study area expansion areas. And what's the tripping point for those being included in the planned action EIS? I understand that it may rely on KSRC and growth center criteria,
Yeah,
but when will we know more?
The reason for that expanded area is there's a minimum area requirement for seeking designation as a regional center at PSRC, and so we can pick and choose where we expand our center boundaries. But I think that we need public feedback on if we need to add 15 acres, should we add it a little bit further to the west of downtown, or should it be going up Mitchell or out towards Annapolis, or should it be somewhere up around the county campus? And so we have choices. So that's why I think it's a potential area.
Do we know what that acreage deficit is currently?
I think it's about 30 to 40 acres, but I think there's some real simple map amendments that would fix that. And then there's going to need to be one chunk of land that needs to be added to the center, and so we have some choices to make.
Okay. Yeah.
I guess that's what you're asking, is going to be very, we will be able to achieve that amount within this study.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Councilmember Lucarelli?
Well, one of my first reactions was that we would need to have plenty of public input, because I look at this and I'm going, how do the neighborhoods fit in, and what are we going to do to protect the historic neighborhoods, that kind of thing. So, you know, it's a little bit of a strong reaction and saying, whoa, not so sure about this, but again, I saw that there was going to be, they were going to go out for a lot of public response, and I want to make sure that that's noticed quite well.
That is the intent. Other questions or comments?
Following up on what Cindy said, I'm wondering if some of the neighbors in the western potential study area, can they opt out of? Does it matter? Because what does it mean to be included in the expansion area to someone in a single-family dwelling?
Right.
We can maintain single-family residences within the center. The critical piece is that we have to maintain a combination of jobs and housing units that is above a certain threshold per acre, and we're near that level already. I don't think it's going to be a problem for the designation that we seek to maintain some single-family areas within that center boundary.
Not very reassuring. I don't like that.
So,
Okay.
going to be lots of conversation in this process.
I'm sure there will be.
And I encourage you to participate.
And on that note, I would just say that the most preferable option is probably to bring the high school in because of the employment level. And I think depending on how many jobs there are per acre at that site, that could get us to the area limit that is needed. But
Well,
it
given
makes
that-
an irregular boundary, so we have to make sure PSRC is okay with that.
We don't want, this odd-shaped center. It's a regional center designation, so. But it's our city,
It's our city. It's our city. Yeah.
so that's a good point, Mr. Bond. Other questions for Mr. Bond?
We received a attorney-client memo.
We
Are we
wanted to
supposed to act on it, or?
It was informational, and if we want to have further discussion about that, we would likely need to have an executive session. I did send you a memo and ask you guys to reach out if you had questions, but we could take a pause here if you feel you need to. And it has to do with whether or not the contract legal representation, not liability. So, was there a desire to have an executive session?
I think a 5-minute one, because I wasn't sure what we were recommended to consider.
Okay, all right, so we will have, let's say 10, nothing ever takes 5 minutes. So,
5 minutes to move in there.
yes, and I don't have an agenda with, where's the RCW, there we go. We're gonna have a 10-minute executive session pursuant to RCW 4230.110, and it would be potential litigation.
Subpart 1, Subpart I, Subpart 3.
Okay, thank you. And regarding potential litigation.
Correct. With
So,
action to follow.
With action to follow, thank you.
Correct.
So we will be back.